Now I need to ask you something. Think for a minute. You have $1 billion in your hand. You're going to bring a legend back to life. All the resources of one of the world's largest automobile companies are at your disposal. The best designers, the best engineers, the best marketing team. And you're pouring all of it into a single car. Then that car doesn't sell. That's exactly the story I'm going to tell you today. How Ford's greatest comeback attempt turned into a car America didn't care about. Welcome. Let's begin. Now let's go back in time. 1955. America had just emerged from the war. The economy was booming. People wanted freedom. And Ford stepped onto the stage at exactly that moment. 2 seats, open top, V8 engine. Not just a car, a feeling. Its name, Thunderbird. It was designed as a direct response to GM's Corvette, but the Corvette was tough, sporty, ruthless. The Thunderbird was different, elegant, comfortable, the very embodiment of American luxury, and America loved it deeply. In its first 3 years, it sold tens of thousands of units. Magazines raved about it. Movies chose it. Rock and roll stars rode in it. The Thunderbird transcended being just a car and became a cultural icon. Of course, every legend has its decline. As the years passed, the Thunderbird grew. As it grew, it became heavier. As it became heavier, it lost its soul. By the 80s, it had turned into an ordinary coupe. By the 90s, nobody noticed it anymore. In 1997, Ford quietly pulled the plug. The Thunderbird had passed into history, or so it seemed. 1999, Detroit Auto Show. In the middle of the hall, there's a white cover, and when Ford lifted that cover, the room froze. Because what stood there wasn't coming from the future, it was coming from the past. Rounded lines, retro styling, that iconic porthole windowed removable hardtop, and its color, bright, loud, look at me yellow. People were stunned, the press went wild, order lists started filling up, Ford's stock climbed. It was 1999, and Ford was bringing back the Thunderbird. So how was this decision made? Ford's CEO at the time wanted to make the company cool. They had acquired Jaguar, there was Land Rover, there was Aston Martin. Ford was building a prestige empire, and they wanted to place the Thunderbird at the center of that empire. Not just a car, a manifesto, a message that Ford can still build great cars. But this decision also brought with it a very big question. What would this car be built on? This is where things get interesting, and I think this is the most critical point of the story. Instead of creating a platform from scratch for the new Thunderbird, Ford used an existing base, the DEW98 platform, the same platform also used in the Jaguar S-Type and the Lincoln LS. And the engine? Not a pure American V8, Jaguar's 3.9-litre DOHC V8. Now stop for a second. You're reviving an American icon with a British heart. That alone is a controversial decision, but the real problem showed up in performance. The engine produced reasonable power, around 252 horsepower. But when that engine was paired with a 5-speed automatic transmission and forced to carry a 1,700-kilogram body, things went off the rails. While a similarly priced Corvette would pin you to your seat, the Thunderbird would carry you along gently. No sports car feel, no super luxury feel. Stuck somewhere in the middle, in an undefined space. And that ambiguity is what ate the car alive. But the beginning was magnificent. Truly magnificent. In the 2002 model year, over 31,000 Thunderbirds were sold. That same year, the Corvette sold 35,000, so the numbers were really quite close. Motor Trend magazine named it Car of the Year. Newspapers ran headlines saying the legend had returned. It even made it into a James Bond film. In Dyer's Another Day, the car Halle Berry drove was none other than this Thunderbird. Order lists filled up so fast that some dealership owners started selling the cars above list price. Ford said, "We found it." The market said, "We want it." But then things started to change. 2003, sales dropped. Nobody could quite figure out why. 2004, they dropped further. 2005, Ford had seen enough. So what had happened? The first problem, price. This was not a cheap car. In the money of the time, $38,000 to $40,000. In today's money, that's $62,000. What could you get for that price? A much faster Corvette, a much more prestigious BMW or Mercedes, or a much cheaper Mustang GT. The Thunderbird couldn't really compete with any of them. The second problem, practicality. You're buying a 2-seater, almost no trunk space. You can't drive it in winter, hard to use as a daily car. Who was the target audience? Baby boomers, Americans in their 50s and 60s who wanted the car of their youth back. But those people now had children, grandchildren, shopping bag. A 2-seater simply didn't fit into their lives. And the third problem, reliability. The Jaguar engine couldn't fully integrate with Ford's familiar service network. Ignition ignition coils were failing. There were cooling issues. Transmission complaints came in. Owners were going to the shop and back to the shop again. The legendary car was generating legendary repair lists. July 2005. Ford rolled the last Thunderbird off the assembly line. Total production, 68,000 cars. In 4 years, far below the numbers Ford had originally envisioned. Billions of dollars invested, billions of dollars in expectations, and in the end, an unremarkable finish. But here's an interesting question now. Was this project really a failure? Ford learned a great deal from the Thunderbird. Retro design works. Americans will pay for nostalgia, but the right balance has to be struck. And with those lessons, Ford launched the new Mustang in 2005, the S197 platform. Retro lines, but this time with performance that actually delivered, a reasonable price, and a broad customer base. So the Thunderbird failed, but its death was not in vain. And today, the Thunderbird is slowly ascending to the status of an underappreciated classic. Well-preserved examples are finding buyers for over $20,000. They draw crowds at car shows. A new generation of enthusiasts is discovering them. Maybe America didn't want it at the time, but when the time came, it understood its worth. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. A new subscription to the channel would be great too, of course. Write in the comments, do you think Ford released this car at the right time, or should it never have been made at all? See you in the next video.